Listen now, we the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. We're back this week. We have some breaking news. We have a bet that still needs completing. There was some behind-the-scenes Twitter conversation going on, which you might know if you follow us, but maybe you don't, so we'll have to reiterate on that a little bit. And, of course, it pertains to the best quarterback currently in football and the eighth best quarterback currently in football, which paradoxically Smokey still ranks as top five. So, Smokey, first of all, how are you doing? How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm better than other quarterbacks in the league right now.
I think other quarterbacks would paradoxically actually be doing quite well, because usually the meta seems to be shifting. Exactly. Probably should say owners. Like, you're doing better than Jerry Jones right now.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because he's going to have to dig deep in that wallet next year, it seems like.
It's like 110. Anyway.
It's true. So, Patrick Mahomes. Best quarterback in the NFL. Best football player on the planet right now. Quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. 3 trophies in 2 years. Should have been 5 trophies in 2 years. Has a new contract. $503 million. 10-year extension. He is now bound to the Kansas City Chiefs through the year 2031, which is probably going to be the rest of his career. He is also now tied for the highest value contract in all of sports with Floyd Mayweather on a list that features probably 90% baseball, which doesn't have a salary cap. The NFL does have a salary cap, and Patrick Mahomes will be eating over a quarter of that of the Kansas City Chiefs for the foreseeable future. What was your first take when you heard this news?
Well, my first take was, how does anyone get a 10-year contract in this day and age? But here's the thing, man. Have you read the contract? Because I haven't. I've just heard people talking about it. And, of course, I saw the Rappaport news, you know, is like the richest man in the world is now Patrick Mahomes. But what I'm hearing, there is a sort of a percentage of a salary cap that $503 million is not the bottom line, and of course, you know, the guarantee is going to be a lot less than that. And I'm not understanding fully what the percentage of the salary cap, how that works out.
It's quite complicated, and a lot of it isn't known. What's out so far, and it'll be a while until we actually know really what's going on. But the contract is an extension over 10 years. We're extending his rookie contract, his contract with the Chiefs, to 12 years into the future, over a total of $503 million, $477 million in so-called guarantee mechanisms. So not fully guaranteed, but guarantee mechanisms. Now, there's a big article on this and exactly what it means. There's just random incentive-based bonuses of like $50 million in 5 to 7 years from now. There apparently seems to be an incentive base and a salary cap percentage, which is, I guess, something that makes a lot of sense for the owner's perspective or for the team's perspective, because typically the salary cap is rising, but if, say, we have a half an NFL season without fans, the salary cap next year probably won't be higher than this year, because it always depends on how the profit situation actually is looking. So his payment will be dependent on future salary caps, but it's tough to really go through this because a lot of it isn't out, and because it's so long stretched, it's quite complicated. But it seems like still his contract is worth more than twice of anything that we've ever seen in the NFL. Remember just 3 years ago when Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jared Goff getting paid north of $100 million for 5 years, and then we were all going crazy, like, what is this madness? And we're now at $500 million over twice that span, and this is literal baseball numbers. And do you think this is the natural development of things, or do you think this is literally a one-time deal?
I think that's a number that will be achieved very soon per year, not 10-year contract. I don't
50,
see that becoming
$50 million per year.
Yeah, and that's I mean, it's definitely getting there. We're already up into like 34, 35 at this point. And you know, it rises by 4 or 5 billion each year because you have 3 or 4 franchise quarterbacks that comes up for renewal each season. And you know, we do see that $3, $4 to $5 million increase every time. You know, I remember people were freaking out like, was it Derek Carr got 28 million, and they're like, oh my God, nobody's worth that much. And then at Stafford got 26 million or 28 million or whatever it was. I don't remember the exact numbers.
Got like 32 or something. You know.
Yeah, after Matt Ryan got 30, and what else was it? Kirk Cousins. Of course,
he had like the ridiculous guarantees of like 90 million guaranteed over 3 or 4 years though.
Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely headed in that direction, and I guess they really, I mean, and of course, why not? Why wouldn't you go, hey, this is the guy that we have to keep here. We're going to win championships. We have to have this player. It makes sense to give him that much money. The only thing I'd be worried about is there a clause for injury in there? Because what if he has a career-ending injury, not even a season-ending, a career-ending injury?
And that's why I feel
happens? You're on the hook for 12 more years?
Yeah. That's why I feel like you can't have this fully guaranteed or like guaranteed sums far into the future. Like in baseball, you have contracts where people they sign 15-year contracts and they retire 7 years in, they get paid for 8 more years, not even playing at all because they don't have salary cap, they don't really care. But in the NFL, having a contract running for a player that doesn't really play for you, dead weight, we know how much that hurts teams, to the point where we've seen people actually giving away extra capital of draft capital just to get rid of players. So infamously, Brock Osweiler. We've seen that happen because the contract was so bad for the team that you just want to get rid of it, put it onto someone else to pay. In a salary cap league, that's definitely high risk. So I feel like it has to be structured in a lot of relative terms, relative both to like the incentives or whatever that Mahomes is actually supposed to achieve, and also to the salary cap given. Now, if you're Mahomes, you probably like the incentive-based contracts because after 2 years in the league, you probably feel like whatever they say, whatever they write in there, I can do it. Doesn't matter what they say, I'll achieve it anyway. So put the incentives in. I feel like it makes a lot of sense to bet on yourself. We've seen people do that. You know, Richard Sherman famously did it, and that worked out quite well for him. And if not Mahomes, then who would do it? I don't think this is going to be repeated anytime soon. I think this is extraordinary. I don't think we're going to see a contract of this total volume in football in the foreseeable future. Probably until over the entire duration of Mahomes' contract. I just can't imagine it work in a salary cap league. But in baseball, that's already what's happening in certain martial arts, boxing, that also happens, but not in a salary cap league. I think this is once in a lifetime. That's because Patrick Mahomes is the most talented player that ever put on a helmet on his admittedly weird hair. So I don't think we're going to see anything like this anytime soon, but you seem to disagree. We know next year, of course, it'll be high noon for Jerry Jones to pay his guy if he wants to keep Dak Prescott around. And of course, the guys who came out with Patrick Mahomes, specifically Deshaun Watson, is still on a rookie contract and is going to need an extension in at most 2 years. And you feel like he should be getting a similar deal as Mahomes this year, if I'm understanding that correctly. No. What your proposal of a bet was, that he will not receive 2/3 of that. Yeah, correct. I said, okay, so we can do 2/3
now, year per year.
All right.
So this is $50 million per year, a maximum that he can make.
Okay, but also also have to include the total volume of the contract, 503, right?
Oh, that's why I said year per year. I'll take you at year per year. We're basing single year to single year. Not if we the entire 10 years. Nobody's ever getting a 10-year again. I mean, well, maybe they will. Maybe somebody will, but that's so rare. That's not going to happen.
Okay, do we adjust it for... Okay, I'll give you this. We adjust for salary cap inflation. and say that I will bet you that Deshaun Watson will not get the yearly money that Mahomes' current contract will be split over, adjusted for salary cap inflation, and under the given condition that it has to be at least 2/3 of the total contract volume.
I see. When I wanted to make the bet, it was based off $50 million per year.
Yeah, I say he doesn't get that.
That's what the tweet said. That's the maximum that he can get. All it would take is for Deshaun Watson to sign a contract of over $34 million. It's actually a little under $34 million, but if he signs for $34 million or more, I win the bet.
Why do you win the bet? You'd have to sign for $50 per year, because Mahomes' contract pays $50 per year.
Oh, that's not 2/3 though.
No, 2/3 of the total contract volume. Like Deshaun,
that's not how you word it. I am not
that's
taking
what I mean.
that bet.
That's what I mean.
Like 2/3 of a 10-year bet. I mean, a 10-year contract. No, I'm not taking that for sure.
Okay, because he could
sign. That's why I said in the tweet. I said year per year. If you want to compare year to year, I will take that bet easily because he's. I'm 99% sure he's getting over $34 million per year.
Yeah, I think now after this he probably will. Not that he's worth it comparison to Mahomes, but I think he probably will. Why am I a liar? If Mahomes is worth 50, how much? Okay, Mahomes is worth 50. How much is Deshaun worth?
If Mahomes is worth 50, I would give Deshaun 38.
Oh, come on, dude. He's like maybe 20. Like, if Mahomes is worth 50, right? Say it was somehow the universal rule, right? That Mahomes is worth 50. That's like the yardstick that everything else is measured by. Mahomes is worth 50. No other player even goes above 40. Like, Aaron Rodgers is somewhere in the low 30s. Especially given his current age.
Where do you get this from?
And no one other than Aaron Rodgers that we know of right now is over 30. I think so. Like 25 maybe, like half. I'd pay Deshaun Watson half of what I'd pay Patrick Mahomes.
Your scale is completely off because there's plenty of people over 30 already.
Oh yeah, but I'm not saying that they are worth that when Patrick Mahomes is worth 50. If Deshaun Watson is worth 35 and that's the constant we're growing up, then Mahomes is worth 80.
If you were, that's what I was about to say. If you're an owner, you would have been like, okay, to be totally gullible and come on in here, Patrick. I'm going to give you half of our entire salary cap.
Yeah,
like, you're worth it.
Yeah,
that would be the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah,
you would have and a bunch of practice squad guys on the field.
True. Well, realistically, it's stupid because of salary cap, and realistically, it wouldn't happen because you can't get another Patrick Mahomes, right? You have to pay Deshaun Watson 35 because you're not going to find a better quarterback, even though if Mahomes is worth 50, he isn't worth 35. That's the reality of the situation. That's why it's always advised you want to get the deal done early. That's why Jerry Jones was told by everyone except for himself already last season sign Dak Prescott, because he could have given Dak $30 million a year last year for the next 6 years, and it would have been set. And that Mahomes contract doesn't influence him at all. You know that Dak is going to want 40 next year, at least.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. He might. I'm sure his first thing him and his agent is going to bring to Jerry Jones is, I want that contract.
Yeah, listen, that Mahomes contract.
That 50.
Every agent.
And he's not going to get it, but.
It's absolutely true. Every agent in the league is going to use this as their yardstick to in negotiations. It'd be stupid if they didn't do it. That's always how it's gone. That's what Kirk Cousins happened. Yeah.
Predict that a contract like that is actually going to lead to more established franchise quarterbacks leaving their teams, like Kirk Cousins did at one point. You know.
Yeah, it's true.
I think that'll actually make that happen more often than we had been seeing.
And now put this into proportion, though. Would you take Patrick Mahomes for 50 or Cam Newton for what?
I don't know, man. I might go with Cam for 1 because you could just. I know the Patriots, already have their salary cap planned out, and they didn't have much salary cap left anyway, so I like they could afford much more than that. But yeah, I don't know. I might go with Cam Newton at 1 and just stack the team with star players, you know?
Exactly. They're going to have him for 1. It's going to be like a prove-it season. And next year, they're going to sign him for like, if he plays well, like, they're going to sign him for like 15 a year. Like, this is the most you'll ever get anywhere. Yeah. Because he just came off exactly. 1. And they're going to have like a top 10 quarterback for like nothing at this point. It's going to be just no money.
The same thing they did to Tom Brady for 20 years.
Well, Tom Brady took a pay cut voluntarily because his wife made 10 times what he did, and he wanted good players around him.
Oh, that's how the Patriots win.
Yeah, that's what the Patriots win.
Maybe he just spun it to the media like that just to save face. It was really Belichick like, no, this is all you're getting. Take it.
You're not getting more of that test open market. Maybe. Hey, went to Tampa Bay. We'll see how he does. Maybe he does well. Maybe he doesn't. We'll remain to see. Another thing, though. Kansas City, what do you say? 10 years from now, is this going to be sustained success, or is this just too much to carry for an organization to pay one player a quarter of his salary cap out of like 53 guys?
Yeah, I think it's... I don't know. I mean, it's all going to come down to, is he the greatest player of all time or not? Is he going to be able to carry the team no matter who they put on it? Because as of right now, you know, Tyreek Hill's going to want another contract, and they're not going to be able to afford that.
Travis Kelce, 2 years. Chris Jones right now.
Yeah, Mecole Hardman's going to want a contract in 2 years, and they're not going to be able to afford that. They're going to have just rookie contract players and Patrick Mahomes.
That's always how it goes when someone gets paid that much. Of course, they know how much he's worth and how much what an integral part he is. But yeah, if you're Tyreek Hill, you're Travis Kelce, Mecole Hardman, like you said, yeah, you're thinking, you can pay that guy 50? Well, pay me 25. And if you don't, let's see how he does without me. And if everyone does that, it's going to be tough.
Exactly.
Because Tyreek Hill's going to get money somewhere else. Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, they're going to get paid other places. And they're going to go to a team with a high salary cap.
Chris Jones already said he's not playing, right?
Yeah.
He said something about he doesn't want to this year anyway.
He wants $20 million. And Travis Kelce in 2 years, he's not going to be cheap because George Kittle's getting $15 million this season or next season. So Travis Kelce's going to want a big chunk of that also.
Mm-hmm. He's going to want the tight end premium.
Yeah, they're going to have some people to pay.
Yeah. I don't know how they're not. That's the simple fact, is they're not going to be able to do it.
So it'll be tough. The downside is definitely, you look at the Rams, a team that's just they're in salary cap hell right now. It took them 3 years for the championship or the success window, and closed pretty quickly. And now they're sitting there with a lot of people making a lot of money, and Todd Gurley's gone, and Jared Goff isn't playing to what he's worth, and they don't really have any draft picks, and a team can go south very quickly with that. And we've seen that even the most talented quarterback in the league, if the team around him is messed up enough, isn't really going to have a lot of success. Talking, of course, about Aaron Rodgers. And I'm not sure if this is going to happen with Patrick Mahomes. There's a lot of things you have to do wrong to not have success with Patrick Mahomes on your team. It's really hard not to, but we'll see. Because money talks, we know that. So we'll see how that actually ends up developing.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, man.
Yeah, going to be interesting to follow, though. Definitely groundbreaking deal. Of course, when more information comes out, we might talk about it again. But we do have a series to continue. Of course, last week we talked about breakout quarterbacks or breakout candidates. If you haven't seen that, go back to the most recent video on Beyond Football or Trash Talk Sports and check that out. We named you brought your list of top 5 breakout candidates at quarterback. Today, I want to move on to the running back position, always one of the more interesting ones really to talk about, because running back is one of the positions where a lot of rookies tend to be on these types of lists, because it's just a position where it's mostly plug and play. Like, a rookie can come in and just dominate and carry an offense. Makes this position very exciting. So what do you got? Give me your number 5, or have you structured it that same way?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. I don't put rookies on mine because that's too easy. I mean, a rookie goes into a place where it's obvious he's going to be productive, and it's like it to be just a little bit harder. Dig a little deeper, you know?
Okay, so some sleepers there.
So, At least second year guys.
Okay.
And, yeah, basically what it is. Guys who started to break out during the very end of last season, and some guys who could return to prominence or really break out. The guys who've had success in the past who could really break out this season. But number five, I am going with the Patriots' Sony Michel.
Okay. Georgia
There's
guy.
a few reasons.
Not surprised. There's a few reasons. One of them is the main reason.
I was hoping I could squeeze that by without you bringing that up.
Nope. And if Nick Chubb, Todd Gurley on this list, I'll call it out again.
They're not.
Okay.
Because they've already broken out. But here's the thing. Rebound is coming. Why? Because lots of successful rookie running backs end up in their sophomore slump. I know a lot of people don't believe in a sophomore slump. If you look at running backs, it happens more times than not.
It does. It
Successful rookie running backs.
True.
Their second year is down. It happened to Todd Gurley. It happened to Alvin Kamara. It happened to the best in the league. Mm-hmm. And it happened to Sony Michel. And he never fully broke out that first season. And one thing is the offense that he was in. The scheme's not designed for a running back to break out. But this year, you finally see a mobile quarterback in New England. And mobile quarterbacks always help the running back because it draws coverage. And, you can't just plan for one man to run the ball when the quarterback can also run the ball. And it tends to help running backs. And thing about Sony Michel is he actually caught passes at Georgia.
Yeah.
I don't know why he hasn't caught passes in New England, but if they just increase that facet of his game, just start giving him some passes on top of it. Cam Newton likes checkdowns. I mean, had a lot of success with Christian McCaffrey. So that all falls in line. Oh, plus the top 10 O-line. We can't forget that. Mm-hmm. But that all falls in line for Sony Michel to have a breakout this season.
I like the take. I do like the take. I tell you, there's going to be a lot more things happening in the backfield in New England this year with the new offense. Inevitably, that's just what a quarterback change of this sort of type just does. Where most of the New England offense kind of happened between 5 and 10 yards in front of the line of scrimmage. With that dink and dunk offense, the sort of like modified West Coast with Tom Brady running, and you have a lot of just underneath concepts, a lot of just zone beating schemes, a lot of rub routes, and screen type plays, short passing game. A lot more backfield stuff will happen with Cam Newton. It's inevitable. We'll see swing routes, we'll see table routes, running backs lining up in different formations. We're going to see option play. They're going to dig deeper into the playbook because they have a quarterback who can just be involved in everything. And I think it does favor the running back. I think you're right about that because you have to have a spy now for quarterback. You have to play someone like Cam Newton with a certain contain, with a quarterback spy, pulls defensive ends further outside of the box. People like to line up in those wide line alignments, and the outside linebackers have to be attentive to that, which will open up the run game through the middle, the gap run scheme. And we know that they're creative in calling plays and exploiting weaknesses. That's what Bill Belichick is notorious for. I think this addition of Cam Newton does favor the New England run game a lot. Probably have a lot more success on the ground, and take the focus off of the screen game, the short passing game a little bit more. Though Cam Newton, of course, will still perform in that. I like it, and I like the passing game aspect. I think Sony Michel is an underrated pass catcher. Of course, he had that great tandem with Nick Chubb at Georgia. I'm not going to deny that they were really good, and yeah, he was a very good receiving back in that system. I think he's gonna go back to that. Traditionally, New England is a team that involves running backs in the receiving game a lot. And it is a bit weird that it hasn't really been him, but they seem to always have had specialists, sort of like receiving running back specialists. I feel like he's actually a pretty good candidate. I was definitely thinking about him, and it just gotta depend on how well this New England offense is gonna get to synergize right off the bat. But I like the pick.
All right, number 4. This guy I predict will finally come to prominence. and that is if he can stay healthy. Derrius Guice, the Washington football team.
Oh God, the Washingtons, yeah.
Washington potatoes.
That's a whole other topic, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know if we were going to talk about that today.
I don't know, man. Satirical. It's nothing much to talk about, really. Let them do whatever they want to. I don't care what they're called. They're going to be bad either way.
Yeah, probably so. And even with them being bad, this is the 13th ranked O-line. I know it's hard to tell by watching the games. This is the 13th ranked O-line in the league.
Is it going to be without Trent Williams?
Well, maybe it's a step down, but their game is so bad, who's going to notice?
Exactly.
But one thing we're going to see is running back usage from this team. Patrick Peterson.
Yeah, you wish.
Peterson. Oh man, Peterson was actually had a great season last season.
Yeah,
there,
true.
At his age too.
Pretty rare.
This is technically his first season, although he didn't play at all the very first season. When he finally got to play, right at the end of last season, 145 yards, 2 touchdowns in 5 games. So I think that's going to lead way to where Derrius Guice, now coming from LSU, he was actually predicted to be, the next Leonard Fournette.
Yeah,
he was going to be just as good, but injury kept him away from it. So I think Derrius Guice can get back to being at least as good as Leonard Fournette, if not better. And that would lead to the number 4 breakout candidate.
It's true. Well, better than Leonard Fournette, at least projected. It's tough. Leonard Fournette was the number 1 player when he came out of high school. He was arguably the number 1 player when he came out of college. It's tough to top that. But I agree, yeah. Of course, Guice inherited his spot there in the LSU offense, and he definitely did it justice. I think it's a good candidate. Of course, this is a guy we probably had in the same discussion last year, and there's unfortunately a pretty good chance we'll have next year as well. I don't think this Washington offense is really going anywhere. Unfortunately, I think they're very much in the race to be the worst team. They're going to be competing against Jacksonville for the number 1 pick, in my opinion, at this point. And they might end up with a new quarterback in the next year because, to me, Dwayne Haskins just is not it. We'll see. We'll see how it develops. A lot of off the field stuff there going on, which is not exactly what you want whenever your team is knees deep in the rebuild. But yeah, the offense will have to revolve around him at least to a degree. If you can't really pass, you can't really do much. You have to be able to run the ball. You lost your best player, which is Trent Williams, of course. So that's not exactly going to help either the passing game or the running game. Hall of Fame left tackle, of course, is gone. So I think if there's going to be one of those bright spots, Derrius Guice has a good shot of being it. If he stays healthy, he's going to be the guy that can make a difference. Sort of the Saquon Barkley that's on a terrible team, but he can just carry him to a couple of wins. But I'm not as optimistic about that as I am about Sony, just because Sony's in a good environment and a team that's looking up. And the Redskins, or whatever you want to call them at this point, to me, just not really there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do have a couple second season guys on here, and
you know what I was thinking?
Is...
I was thinking we could call them the Washington Orange Skins in honor of the president and such.
Hey, they are in DC, so
yeah. How do you like that one? Maybe we'll go with that. I don't know.
You know what I was hearing is that it's either going to be the Warriors to keep it as a Native American, or switch it to the Red Tails, which was part of the Tuskegee Airmen and the Black Air Fighters or whatever.
Yeah, it could also just be a Red Tail Hawk or something. Yeah, Red Tail is probably the most discreet change there. We'll see if anything happens for the season. I have absolutely no dog in that fight at all. They're gonna be terrible no matter what. They're not gonna sniff playoff air next year. Not gonna be relevant. So who cares?
Speaking of another bad team, Bears have a running back in his second season, David Montgomery. Now, this guy's really capable of big runs. Now, I am afraid of the sophomore slump for two of my guys on this list, and it could really happen. I'm hoping it will miss David Montgomery since he had a pretty much forgettable rookie season. Although he did accomplish 889 yards, 6 rushing touchdowns. This guy can break off at any time on a big run, and we've seen it happen all throughout his college years. And we saw it happen actually a few times last season when they turned him loose. But what's the big thing holding that team back right now? His name is Matt Nagy. And we all want to see Matt Nagy be what he was acclaimed to be when he took that spot for the Bears.
We also want to see him have a good quarterback.
Oh, that's true. And maybe Nick Foles is better for it. Oh, I made myself laugh saying that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Exactly.
Now, I don't think the quarterbacks, Nick Foles or Trubisky, I don't think either one is actually going to be great for the team.
You got 2 different flavors of 8-8 on your team. Congratulations.
Yes, exactly. But if you want to get back to the playoffs, you're going to have to run the ball because of the quarterbacks you have. And unfortunately, you could actually say Trubisky is kind of a mobile quarterback, so
a little bit.
Kind of good for the running backs. But anyway, I got him at number 3, and there's high risk, high reward with this guy.
It's a promising player, at least. We know that good defense tends to go along with good running game. Those are just 2 things that synergize on football teams, just due to the fact of keeping your defense off the field, taking the air out of the ball and getting them long rests, and that's just how teams tend to dominate. We've seen it a lot over the past several years. And this is probably the direction that the Bears want to try to stir to, especially considering you just don't have the quarterback. Now, I do personally, I definitely want to see Aaron Rodgers with the Chicago Bears next year or the year after. Nothing more that I would love than that, but at the moment that's not the case. I like the pick. I'd still probably, if I'm doing like the live power rankings of your picks, I still have Sony Michel in front of him. I would definitely rank him number 4 at this point, though. So I'd say Sony Michel is number 3. He's number 4. From the ones you've mentioned so far, I'm assuming the top 2 are going to be better. Or I'm not exactly sure who you have, but we'll get to that. But I think it's promising. It's a similar situation for him, I feel like we talked about just now. That running game is potentially going to be one of the few bright spots in the Bears offense. Like we said, with Derrius Guice, Darren Washington. He's someone who can carry a team if he plays up to his strength. And you said he's an explosive runner, definitely true. Make plays. He can catch footballs decently well, so they're going to use him in a supplemental passing game. Especially considering that their receiver depth also is not exactly the greatest. But this is just going to be such an average team. And I typically see breakout running backs on either really good teams or really bad teams. And that's because they're either just the team's good enough that they can run all day, like we saw Raheem Mostert last year, or they're bad enough so they have nothing else but to go to him, like we saw Christian McCaffrey last year. So the average team typically goes pretty uneventful in either direction.
Exactly. And that's what you look for in fantasy. Really good teams or really bad teams.
For running backs.
Bad teams tend to... Yes, exactly. Well, bad teams can also give you garbage time, but... Anyway, number 2. This guy was already in the works of breaking out last season. The only reason you can't say he broke out last season is because he got to his team very late in the season. This is Kenyan Drake in Arizona.
Okay. Now we're talking. I like that one.
Yeah. Over 15 carries a game that he was getting when he finally got there.
I like that.
317 yards, 8 touchdowns, 345 receiving yards last season. This guy, I think, is special. He's an Alabama running back. He's got to be special, right?
He's got to be good, right? Yeah.
Exactly. I think it's just SEC running backs, But
yeah, Georgia's fine. Let's not pretend Georgia is like Alabama when it comes to running backs, but they're fine. They're fine.
I can name successful running backs in the league from Auburn.
Yeah. Pretty much anyone. There's several from Georgia and Alabama right now. It's true.
How many have we seen from Arkansas?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Alabama and Georgia actually probably maybe along with Wisconsin hold the records right now. Those are probably the top three.
Alabama seems to be transitioning to quarterback U more than running back U, but we'll see.
Had one guy. You had one guy.
Okay, you had one guy, but you got the next one in the works. I mean, Bryce Young is the... What? What are you saying? Bryce Young was the best. Bryce Young was the best high school player in the nation last year. Okay. He was great out of Mater Dei, and he's gonna give a 5-star recruit, and he's a future.
He win the Elite 11.
He's a future first-round pick. Future first-round pick. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's a rattler, man. Okay. Unfortunately, as much as I hate Oklahoma, Spencer Rattler might be the man for that class. But just wait. Brock Vandagriff is coming for Georgia. Wait till that kid gets in there.
Okay.
In the 2020 recruits anyway. Yeah, you will.
I'm waiting. I like Bryce Young. I will say this: I like Bryce Young before he was in Alabama, so I thought he was great then, and I'm rolling with it.
Trying to think, has he ever committed to Oklahoma?
Who, Bryce Young?
Yeah. Was he committed straight to Alabama off the bat?
I don't actually remember, honestly. I feel like when they played IMG, he already was, and then there was the final against John Bosco, which they end up losing. But I feel like he was. I'm not sure though.
Mm-hmm. Maybe right. I just feel like most commits go through most quarterback commits, especially most of the Elite 11. End up committing to Oklahoma at one point before they go somewhere else.
Yeah. It's true. That is correct. Yeah, go to Oklahoma. They see who their current quarterback is, and then they're like, nah.
Exactly. Yeah, they've got like five of them. 5 of them still waiting right now. But anyway, Kenyan Drake. Yeah, that offense should be improving. Kyler Murray should be improving. It's a mobile quarterback. Everything's in line for him to fully break out this season. What do you say?
I think the Cardinals have a good shot. Of course, we've talked about how they could already surpass the Rams and maybe even Seattle this year. They are definitely trending up. Kyler Murray, to me, is still the bottleneck of that offense. I think he's okay, and that's basically a thought crime in most people's opinion. Of course, Kyler Murray has to be Russell Wilson, and if you say he's not, then that's terrible. Same, of course, went with Baker Mayfield and Drew Brees. I remember that very distinctly. And Jalen Hurts is also going to be Cam Newton. We all know that. I think Cardinals are going to be good. I think they're going to be a lot better. They have a reasonable shot for a positive record and a playoff push if stuff works out. If Cliff Kingsbury turns out to have improved, if Kyler Murray turns out to have improved, DeAndre Hopkins and Larry Fitz are going to be a good tandem. And, of course, Kenyan Drake. It seemed like he left the clutches of Miami and he became a superstar overnight. I remember that. I think he made his debut against San Francisco and he was running over people. Mm-hmm. I remind you that Arizona, last time, they played San Francisco to the last play twice. Now, they lost both games, but it was close. And compare that to a team like Green Bay that got ran over by the same offense. There's definitely promise for the Cardinals. I think they can give a lot of people problems. A lot of things have to work out. Kenyan Drake is a good piece in there. I expected him to be on your list, frankly. And if you don't mind, I'll take a guess for your number one. Just I have like an inclination, but I like the pick, and he's an Alabama product, so of course he has to be good. Good pass catcher too.
Who do you have as my number one?
I have as your number one, of course, since there is only one good NFL team in your opinion. It has to be the Buffalo Bills, so it has to be Devin Singletary, because Frank Gore is out of the building, so that's who it's going to be, obviously. He's going to be the Offensive Player of the Year, while Josh Allen is MVP.
You know what? It's not.
It's not. Okay, and it's not Todd Gurley either.
Not.
Okay,
I actually thought about him. I thought about Devin Singletary. No, it's
Yeah.
not Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley broke out a long time ago.
I'll take one more shot. Am I gonna take another shot? Let's see. Matt Breida. In Miami.
Breida, no.
No, okay.
Yeah, is he even going to be the number one there?
I would think he will be. We'll see. But,
Got Howard down there.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Breida probably had a better season. He's a better receiver.
It's not Raheem Mostert.
Well, you could consider him already having broken out last year.
Yeah, exactly. I thought about that.
Rashawn
but
Penny.
I'm slowly.
Final answer. Okay, I'm out. Just let me know.
It happens to be Miles Sanders.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? I like it. I can see it.
Miles Sanders, a dynamic offense guy. When he came on at the very end of the season last year, 3 touchdown passes, 818 yards, and 4.6 yards per carry. I'm hoping the sophomore slump will miss him because he didn't quite break out last year. But he definitely showed promise. And if you were playing fantasy, that was the guy to have over the last few games of the season.
For sure.
I mean he
entire
caught
team,
fire.
The entire team really got it together there towards the end of the season. It didn't look good for a while, but they pulled it together.
Oh, yeah. Remember when we thought Dallas was going to make it into the playoffs over them?
Imagine thinking Dallas wins the division, right? Yeah, crazy.
But either way, Miles Sanders, a somewhat mobile quarterback, a decently mobile quarterback, as a matter of fact. A guy who can throw downfield and downs either way, but Miles Sanders can catch passes. Now, he's kind of in the same boat that I was saying about Derrius Guice. This guy was projected to be the next Saquon Barkley when through Penn State, and who knows? I mean, he wasn't drafted as highly as Saquon, in his first season. He didn't take the job, immediately and run off with it like Saquon did. But who knows? This guy could develop to be Saquon-esque,
I like the capacity.
I think this season he's going to take a step forward and join the elite running backs.
Okay, I like the capacity, like you mentioned, especially in the passing game, because that's going to be a big part of the Eagles' offense, no matter what. Carson Wentz is going to be healthy. You have a top 3 quarterback and a guy who's going to be in the running for the MVP. It feels like over the last 2 seasons we've sort of forgotten it, but Carson Wentz is one of the best players in football, and when he's healthy, the Eagles are going to be one of the best teams in the NFC. And given that last year he somehow willed that team to a playoff spot with, again, like the hot dog guys lining up with him on offense because everyone was hurt. That is impressive. And that Eagle offense can only get better. I think double-digit wins definitely in the cards if he stays healthy. And having a supporting running game as well as especially a receiving threat from the backfield, because the receiving core was cut very thin last year, which was part of his receiving success for Miles Sanders there, of course. They did draft receivers. They did draft really well. The Eagles are looking up. And this is one of those situations where you're looking at, this could be like a breakout team, a really, really strong team. And this is sort of the running back situation. You said it before, either really bad teams or really good teams. And this will be the good side of the team, the synergistic, where he's just going to be another weapon in a really strong offense with a really strong quarterback. And they're going to be matchup nightmares for everybody. I definitely like the idea, especially because he'll contribute 2 ways. So I can't dispute the pick. I was just expecting you to keep going Buffalo, though, honestly.
Yeah, I really thought about it, man. I just don't know. I think that's going to be more of a committee this season. Okay.
So you're thinking a lot of Josh Allen and supplemental run game for Buffalo?
Yeah.
Yeah, might be.
Yeah, and Josh Allen's going to keep the ball a lot.
Yeah, I would agree.
Keep the ball a lot, and he's got receivers that can go downfield. A lot of Stephon Diggs this year. And Singletary, I like him, and I think he's going to be a good serviceable running back. He might even break the top 10 at some point, but I don't know. I don't see him as like making that step to elite this season.
It's true. Let me bring up two names, though. And I assume you're going to say both of those have broken out, but they have kind of been on the low a little bit. Todd Gurley and Melvin Gordon. How do you look at those guys?
Oh, yeah, both of those guys. They're like twins, you know? They're paths through the NFL. Although one guy got paid and one guy held out and didn't get paid. Mm-hmm. But other than that, their paths through the NFL have been almost identical.
Yeah.
You know, coming into the NFL.
Being equally
very
evaluated.
close together. Yeah, exactly. And
both
in
LA.
finally got... Yeah, exactly. Both got their new homes and separated cross country from each other, so I don't guess they're going to be able to hang out anymore. But
yeah, they're both going to be in better spots too.
Yeah, now maybe either one of those guys could be a comeback player of the season.
Yeah, that's true. Especially I feel like, Melvin Gordon. Though comeback tends to go to players that were hurt and not holding out or some other dispute.
Yeah, but you got to think Todd Gurley has been a number one running back.
Yeah.
For an entire season, actually 2 seasons.
The capability.
And Melvin Gordon has been a number 2, actually, seasons ago, for his holdout.
That's true. So yeah, breakout happened already. Comeback player, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe Todd Gurley, a bit more likely, because the holdout it's typically not like they weren't gonna give Le'Veon Bell the comeback player last year. Doesn't matter how well he did, right? It's true. It typically just doesn't tend to work like that.
Gurley's up for it. Had the injury.
Yeah, that's true. Still have doubts about how effective that Falcon offense will be, or if it'll ever go back to 3 years ago or 4 years ago, which I don't think it will. It was record-breaking days, but potential's there for sure. That I do agree with. My breakout, my breakout running backs. Given that I've heard your list, Miles Sanders is a really good pick, and I like that a lot. I still have Sony Michel probably around 2 or 3 now.
All right.
I like Derrius Guice better than some of the other guys, just because that's the really bad team, and if he hits, he's really gonna hit because he will be the only one that hits. He's gonna have to carry it himself. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if he's gonna be capable of doing that to the same extent as a Saquon or a Leonard Fournette, though. And other than that, I still don't hate Breida if he really gets the starting role, because he could be in a similar situation also. You don't exactly know how Tua is going to be starting. Is he going to be healthy? Is the team going to be any good? Matt Breida, we know, is one of the fastest players in the league. He can take a game over, go for 200 yards. He can catch and run the football. And I feel like that might be something that the Dolphins are going to rely on a lot this season, not really having the offense all in place. The point is, though, that they might just be looking at a bit of more of a committee backfield there, like he was also part of in San Francisco. So he's not going to be the featured superstar back at all the carries like a Leonard Fournette or probably Miles Sanders will. But those would be my takes there. It's going to be interesting to see.
You know what? Speaking of Tua, man, I heard a take. One actually suggested that they may put Tua on the PUP list this season. And just let Fitzpatrick play for at least the first half of the season.
I get another top 5 pick. Get an old lineman. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's just a take I heard. I forgot where I heard that. It was a podcast.
Okay, that's risky.
Around the NFL, maybe.
And whatever's going to happen with Josh Rosen again, are we going to forget about him? Is he going to just be is Josh Rosen a career backup at this point, or is there any saving?
I think he's probably hating that the XFL doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, you think he was going to go to the XFL? Stop that.
Yeah, he's like a Hackenberg.
No, he's not. He's better than all that.
What was the other one that the Jets had?
Bryce Petty?
Bryce Petty, he's one of those guys.
No, he's not. He's really good. I wanted to see him in New England, frankly. I want to see him go somewhere where he can perform. Like, I'm about to say Jacksonville, no. Chicago, goddamn. Should have picked him up instead of Nick Foles, right? He's cheap, and he can probably play better than Mitch Trubisky in a capable team with a good defense. Like the thing is, Chicago would have been the best situation he's been in the NFL so far, and that means a lot because he's been to 2 other teams that were respectively the worst team in those two respective seasons. So can't really get much worse for him almost. But yeah, it looks like he's gonna end up being a journeyman Josh McCown career backup, and it's super unfortunate because what a waste of talent. But that's what the NFL can do to someone.
You think he'll last that long?
I think so. Yeah, he'll probably just if he's willing to move around a lot, then yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
I was thinking at the end of his contract, he might be done.
You think he's gonna be done? No,
4 to 5 years, and
someone's gonna see this. Someone's gonna see, and if it has to be, if it's gonna be Belichick, it's gonna be Belichick, right? If he's the only one who's gonna see it, but that guy, you know what he's done in college, you know what he can do. And given the situations he was in, yeah, you gotta at least give him one fair shot. Just 1 year, good team, solid environment, stable defense, and just see what he can do. I think people will take the shot on him one more time.
I think you need an offensive genius to work with him. A former quarterback, Andy Reid or a Bruce Arians or somebody.
I don't think
those
so
guys, obviously.
I don't think so.
Who knows?
You just need a Belichick. You need someone who builds a good team and whose environment is super solid. You don't need the flashiest play calling from at all because he'll play the Tom Brady role. He'll just manage your game. He'll run an offense. He'll score 16 points, and if you win 12 games, you're scoring 16 points. That's fine.
Think he's better than Jarrett Stidham?
I haven't seen Jarrett Stidham play a single game, so I can't tell. Of course, Jarrett Stidham could be really good.
Bring college him in. A lot.
I mean, bring him in, right? How much good are you trying to replace Tom Brady? You got Stidham, Cam Newton, Josh Rosen in your camp. That is two big time first round talents for probably a combined less than $5 million. It's not a lot. I'd do it. I'd do it if I was them. So why not get more people in, right? You just taking shots at those guys. Like they did with Cam Newton. It makes sense to me, but we'll see how it does turn out. And it would make sense for someone who was a reject in Miami to then start flourishing in New England, or vice versa. Of course, they come out of New England and then they suck anywhere else in the division. Mm-hmm. So thank you for watching the video. Drop a like on it if you did enjoy it. Let us know your breakout candidates and especially the running backs, of course. What do you think of Patrick Mahomes' new contract? Let us know in the comments. Is it going to work out for the Chiefs? Is it going to work out for Mahomes? Or is this the road to a failure? Are they not going to be able to carry this under the salary cap? Or is his individual class enough to justify this deal? Let us know. And if we don't have anything else to add, we're going to see you in the next one.
Who says?